on the very day I rose to the top of the class rankings. I couldn't wait to share the news with my beloved Imperial consort Willow. Unexpectedly, she asked me to admit I cheated, just to help a poor classmate in our class. With a sarcastic tone, she said, "Oh please, how could you possibly rank first? Besides, Makoto really needs that scholarship. Your family's a bunch of nouveau riche, can't you just give it up for him?" And not only did I not refuse, I immediately agreed without hesitation. But in the very next second, I sent the entire call recording straight to the principal's office. I said, "Sorry, I want to transfer schools. Apparently, being nouveau riche means I'm not allowed to be top of the class." The principal was stunned. After looking into the matter, Willow was immediately issued a disciplinary warning. Furious, Willow blocked me, declaring she never wanted to see me again. And indeed, she didn't see me when school started again, because I had already transferred to the elite experimental class of the city's top high school, as the lowest ranked student. Chapter 1. After enduring a string of low points, taunts from rivals, betrayal by my childhood friend, and a carefully orchestrated campaign of social isolation, I still came out on top, ranked first in the entire class. My father now believes I'm a once-in-a-generation genius. He's planning to pull some strings to transfer me into the elite experimental class at the city's top high school, where talents from all corners gather, he declared. Gauss spent a whole night on that problem. My son solved it in seconds with Gauss's formula. Newton was in his 20s when he grasped the 3 laws of motion. My son mastered them at 16. I straightened my back, chin held high, and asked, why were they born before me? Was it the slow birds fly first, or were they simply afraid of my brilliance? My father's eyes suddenly turned distant, heavy with meaning. He let out a deep sigh and said, "It is because kings must never meet. My son, I've watched you grow with pride, and now, at last, I, the emperor, can pass down my throne in peace. My child, I've watched you grow up with pride, and now, I, the emperor, can finally pass my throne to you in peace. My dad's name is Caesar. Everyone around him jokingly calls him the emperor, and since I was little, he's always called me Crown Prince." That joke was something only the two of us ever took seriously. He said, "To wear the crown, you must bear its weight. George, you must become a worthy emperor. Do you understand?" I nodded solemnly and replied, "I, the emperor, know exactly what must be done." After I posted on WeChat declaring my triumphant rise to the top of the rankings and my successful coronation, Willow called, with mockery in her voice. She said, "George, please, you, first place, trying to get my attention by cheating, is that fair to those who actually work hard?" I took a deep breath. A worthy emperor must keep his emotions hidden and strike only when the time is right. I asked, "Oh, then tell me, who exactly is my success unfair to?" She paused, then let out a snide laugh as if she realized something. "You're just jealous of Makoto and targeting him on purpose. I can't believe I didn't see how gross you were before. You better confess to cheating and return first place to him, or I won't talk to you next semester," I replied calmly. "But I didn't cheat. You can check the surveillance footage or ask the teacher to give me another test." Willow was stunned for a moment, then snapped irritably, "Do you really have to be so petty? You know Makoto needs that scholarship more than you. Your family's loaded. Can't you just let him have it?" I looked up and sighed. Back when I was just crown prince, I had promised her an empire as my dowry, to make her my empress. Who could have known that after meeting Makoto, she'd change her heart? Every time we argued, she'd side with outsiders against me, the emperor. I used to let it slide for the sake of our childhood bond, but now, I am the emperor, and how dare Willow, a mere subject, speak to me like that? It's time she learned a lesson. I agreed and said, "All right, I'll talk to the principal." She froze for a second, clearly not expecting me to be so agreeable this time. Then she scoffed and said, "You know what? Forget it. I'll forgive you this once. Just don't use such cheap tricks next time." I immediately emailed the recording of our conversation to the principal's office. Postscript, "Sorry, I want to transfer schools. Apparently, nouveau riche kids aren't allowed to be number 1. She messed with me, but this time she hit a wall of steel. No one in class wanted to be friends with me, so I'd go straight to the office to ask teachers for help. Even the principal knew who I was. My grades had been personally raised up by the hard work of every subject teacher. Aside from Willow, probably no one ever doubted the legitimacy of my scores. Soon, the school administration called my dad to ask about the situation. As it happened, the transfer process was already finalized, so he took the opportunity to make it official. From then on, I had nothing to worry about. When the new semester began, I heard that Willow's disciplinary punishment and public reprimand caused quite a stir. She declared she never wanted to see me again. And of course, she didn't, because by that time, I was already in the elite experimental class of the city's top high school, proudly ranked dead last on the placement test. Chapter 2. I stared at the test paper, unable to recover for a long while, murmuring to myself, "How could this happen? Wasn't I supposed to be a genius?" The girl sitting next to me leaned over, glanced at my paper, and couldn't help but burst into a laugh. Under the stern gaze of the emperor, she immediately corrected herself. Of course you're a genius, but even if you're 1 in 10,000, well, our country has a population of 1.4 billion, so keep a calm heart. I nodded in satisfaction and rewarded her with a bottle of milk. Classmate, I look forward to learning from you in the future. She propped her chin in her palm, looking amused. Then she said, Crown Prince, you really don't remember me. My dad and your dad are good friends. Oh, now I remembered, she's Uncle Sue's daughter, Anna Sue. We met once at some party. Uncle Sue always bragged about how amazing his daughter was, which neither my dad nor I enjoyed, so we ignored him. But now, a worthy emperor must humbly accept wise counsel. I might need her help solving problems from now on. So I gave her a modest smile and said, of course I remember that night at the party. You were the prettiest of all. My eyes had room for no one else. Moderate praise helps strengthen the relationship between ruler and subject. Anna's hand slipped, and she smacked her forehead on the desk with a thud. Startled, I reached out to support her. Anna, are you okay? It took her a while to lift her head, turning her face away to look out the window, refusing to look at me. Ears completely red, she mumbled, I'm fine, just low blood sugar. I nodded. Oh. Then I said nothing more, lowering my head to seriously correct my memorials, aka test mistakes. An emperor is a very busy man. The homeroom teacher was a serious-looking woman. After briefly introducing me to the class, she began the lesson. It was my first time experiencing such a strong academic atmosphere. No cliques, no isolation or gossip, only enthusiastic discussions about problem-solving strategies. With Anna's help, I quickly adapted to the new environment and received an encouraging welcome. She said, if you don't understand something, come ask me. Only 2 people didn't seem too fond of me. One was David, the strict class discipline officer. In his eyes, I was just another rich kid trying to gold-plate his resume, wasting a valuable spot and sucking up education resources. The other was Alicia, the class goddess and straight-A student, who kept her distance from everyone. Anna, being her childhood best friend, brought me over to introduce us. She said, George, this is my bestie. She's ranked number 1 in the whole grade. If even I can't solve something, you can ask her too. My eyes lit up, and I was just about to extend a hand in greeting when I heard a cold voice. Alicia didn't even look up, just gave a light snort and said, if you have time to chat, you might as well do 2 more sets of basic exercises. She had a delicate nose, soft lips, and even the sunlight seemed to favor her. Anna poked her in the head, displeased. George is my friend. Mind your tone. No matter, talented beauties tend to have a bit of a temper. I, the emperor, am always generous and kind. I patted Anna lightly and said, it's fine. Number 1 always has a problem with other number 1s. It's natural. Anna, speechless. Alicia, speechless. She finally lifted her lashes and gave me a cold sideways glance, as if I'd insulted her. Later that afternoon, the homeroom teacher reshuffled seats based on our test results, and Alicia became my new desk mate. She actually took the initiative to speak, pointing her slender finger at me. Classmate, it's true that number 1s don't like each other, but you are numbered dead last. I was furious. How dare you, Alicia, insult the emperor like this in the grand court of academia? Just you wait. Chapter 3. The driver Pablo, who usually picks me up and drops me off at school, has a severe case of hemorrhoids and needs surgery. During this time, I originally planned to take the bus home by myself, but Anna took the initiative to invite me into her family's car when she found out. She said, Crown Prince, it's on the way, let's go together. I thanked her and then corrected her. I'm not the Crown Prince. Anna thought I was upset and quickly explained. Sorry, I didn't mean to give you a nickname. I nodded and replied, I know, but I've already ascended the throne. I'm the emperor now. Anna was completely dumbfounded. Seeing how serious I looked, she pinched her arm hard to stop herself, but the corners of her mouth still curled up uncontrollably, until the driver finally couldn't hold back and snorted with laughter. Anna broke completely. Goose-like laughter echoed in the car the whole ride. I calmly took out my earphones and started listening to English audio. As I got off the car, Anna called after me. She said, Crown Prince, no. Emperor, will you still be riding in this humble commoner girl's car tomorrow? I nodded and replied, Anna, you've truly won my imperial favor. I'll work hard and keep being your desk mate. She widened her eyes, and the teasing curve at the corners of her lips froze. Her pretty face flushed red in an instant. Under my concerned gaze, she became flustered and stammered. Why, you should get going now. She waved her hands in a panic, rolled up the window, and quickly drove away. The next day, I brought Anna a bottle of milk as usual. This scene was spotted by Alicia, who happened to be stretching and rubbing her shoulders. She frowned instinctively. After we returned to our seats, I tried talking to her, but she ignored me. Last time in the math quiz, I got 8 out of 10 questions wrong. The math teacher sighed deeply and told me to come to her office after class. Of course, I was happy to. I went often, but each time I had to pass by Alicia. After being called up for the nth time, Alicia finally couldn't take it anymore. Her repressed morning grumpiness was about to explode. She complained, "Which question don't you understand? I'll just teach you." I accepted, reluctantly. 2 days later, while she was explaining a problem to me, she suddenly clutched her chest in pain. I poked her with the tip of my pen and asked, "What's wrong with you?" She slowly turned her head to look at me and said in annoyance, "I think you've stressed me into an irregular heartbeat." All right then. I figured she was basically a half-official imperial tutor now, so I handed her my own bottle of milk. I said, "Teacher Alicia, don't be mad. Calm down. I'll keep working hard." She couldn't explode on me anymore and could only take the milk with a pout. Was she upset because I didn't bring her one before? I probed gently. "Should I bring one for you next time too?" Her tone was full of complaint. "I had to lecture you till my mouth went dry before I got one bottle from you. Anna just gives you a ride, and you bring her milk every day. Knowledge really is worthless these days." I frowned and retorted, "You can't say that. Knowledge is priceless." Alicia snorted and ignored me again. I was about to go ask Anna a question when Alicia turned her head and pretended to sleep, refusing to move and let me pass. Left with no choice, I had to use that trick. I have dermographism, also called skin writing disease. So I used a pen to write big characters on my arm and stretched it under Alicia's desk. It said, "Don't be mad anymore. I'll bring it for you from now on." The next second, she gasped. Her pupils shook. "Are you allergic?" I replied, "Nope. It doesn't hurt or itch. Don't worry." After I explained, her lips pressed tightly together. She looked both angry and helpless. I asked cautiously, "I'm trying to make it up to you. Aren't you happy?" In ancient times, there were heroes who carved words into their flesh to show loyalty to the nation. Today, here I am, Emperor Wang, humbling myself to mingle with the commoners, getting a tattoo just to fool people. Quite the charismatic act, isn't it? Alicia blushed to the tips of her ears when she heard this. She rested one hand on her cheek, hiding part of her face with her fingertips, and said softly, "Fine, since you're so sincere, from now on, you can ask me for help with other subjects too, not just math, but you can't pull this kind of stunt again, got it?" Wait, really? I was overjoyed, but I couldn't help feeling a little suspicious. Is milk really that popular? It's from my dad's friend's factory. They deliver it to me every day. I only gave it to Anna because I thought it tasted bad. No idea how the girls ended up loving it. Chapter 4. Just as I was about to get in the car, I noticed Anna's expression didn't look too good. At the same time, there was someone else standing nearby. Alicia looked at me and smirked. "My driver's unavailable today too. Mind if I squeeze in with you guys?" I nodded and stepped back, planning to sit in the front passenger seat. Anna and Alicia spoke up at the same time. Wait a second. Before they could finish, a familiar voice cut in. "George, who are they?" I turned my head. It was Willow, who I hadn't seen in a long time. She looked grim, staring daggers at the three of us. I asked her back, "What are you doing here?" Willow was at a loss for words. Her gaze dodged a little, and she awkwardly tucked a stray hair behind her ear. She said, "Didn't Pablo get hospitalized? I came to see if you wanted to ride in our car." I replied, "No need." The moment I rejected her, her expression turned sour with embarrassment and frustration. She snapped, "George, you ditched me without a word and transferred to this crappy, unfamiliar school. Fine. I didn't even make a fuss when you ratted me out and even offered you an easy way to save face. And now what? You don't appreciate it at all." She glared at me and added, "If you keep acting like this, I'm seriously done with you." When I stayed silent, Willow approached with a cold face and tried to grab me, only to be blocked by the book in Anna's hand. Anna rolled her eyes and said, "Hilarious. If our school is crappy, then what's yours? A landfill?" Willow's face turned bright red. She bit her lip and snapped, "I'm talking to George. What's it to you?" Anna replied, enunciating each word clearly. "How dare you? Even the Emperor's name isn't something you can just throw around. Go back to where you came from and stop getting in the way of his studies." Willow's expression twisted in anger. She clenched her fists so tightly her nails dug into her palm and hissed, "George, let's see if you're man enough not to regret this." Regret? I'd rather use that time to solve one more question. While the two of them were facing off, Alicia silently handed me a set of listening comprehension exercises. She said, "These are based on your weak areas. The circled parts are required, rest is optional." Tears of gratitude nearly welled up. I said, "Thank you, Teacher Alicia." She smiled and lowered her head to continue reading. When Anna finally returned triumphantly, she looked frustrated. She pouted and complained, "Your Majesty, I chased that crazy girl off, and you didn't even look up at me once." I took off my earphones and nodded to show my appreciation. I said, "Anna, you've done a great service in defending your emperor. You shall be greatly rewarded with your assistance. How can I not bring peace to the realm?" Her eyes lit up and she replied, "My thanks, Your Majesty. I'll continue to do my best." At the same time, she cast a subtle glare at Alicia. who looked utterly unamused. The whole ride, the two of them sniped at each other with sarcasm, while the driver occasionally tried to mediate. I started missing Pablo's quiet and reserved presence. Come to think of it, was his silence all this time just because his hemorrhoids hurt too much? Chapter 5. Over the weekend, while I was casually scrolling through WeChat posts as usual, I saw an official couple photo of Willow and Makoto. The caption read, "Rather be a poor man's wife than a royal concubine. From now on, I'll only be your devoted partner." So she pulled me out of her block list just to show me this. She really likes broke guys. Is she trying to live out some humble wife helps ambitious man rise to glory storyline? Is this a kink? I don't get it, and I'm not giving it a like. Next post. Mom. Life is a vast wilderness. Snowy mountains, highways, grasslands, plus the classic arms wide open pose. Cliché. Lacks originality. No like. The next one. If you love me, then say it. A couple's motorcycle photo shoot in the hills, blatantly violating traffic laws. No like. Then came a photo of Anna in a flowing lilac chiffon dress, figure skating. I gave it a like and commented, flawless facial control, perfect proportions, like a magazine cover, truly pleasing to the eye. Alicia quickly replied under it, the only reason I liked your selfie was because it took guts to post that body, not because I thought you looked good. Soon after, Willow called me. She asked, don't you have anything you want to say to me? I answered, nope. She suddenly scoffed and said, I was going to forgive you if you just apologized and we'd stay friends. But clearly, you're still so pathetic. Now even if you beg me, I won't forgive you. Let's just delete each other. My boyfriend doesn't like it. I replied. All right, goodbye. I ended the call, deleted her, blocked her, all in a single, decisive imperial strike. Why didn't I do it earlier? Because a sovereign of my caliber must not act on petty whims or fleeting emotion. An emperor's heart must be vast, his vision infinite. Nothing escapes my all-seeing gaze. I study the rise and fall of dynasties, and I know well, isolation breeds downfall. Thus, I patrol the realm of WeChat moments with tireless diligence to grasp the shifting tides of the mortal world. But as of today, Willow is no longer a citizen of my empire. She has been exiled without the possibility of return. Her name, struck from the records. Just as I was about to inspect Anna's latest offerings, a message from Alicia pierced through the noise like a royal decree. She wrote, I've compiled a few new types of math questions, solve each using at least 2 methods. At that moment, a surge of divine energy coursed through me. I seized my pen, the Emperor's sword, and waged battle against logic and numbers. When the final theorem bowed before me, the hour had already passed midnight. Bathed in the cleansing light of intellect, I found serenity, and drifted into slumber, triumphant. Did I forget something? No matter. If it were truly worthy of an emperor's attention, it would have remembered me. Chapter 6. Good news. I've improved quickly and jumped to second to last place in the monthly exam. Bad news. That's only because the last place student took a leave of absence to attend a physics competition. Anna tried to comfort me. Your Majesty, you should compare yourself with your past self. You scored 32 more points than last time. That's amazing. Even Alicia, surprisingly, agreed. Yeah, at this rate, you'll catch up in no time. I had just nodded when my new deskmate David let out a cold snort. He said, dreams are fine, but at least make them realistic. I don't believe someone who got in through connections actually cares about studying. Who knows how those scores even came about? Anna frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I held her back and said calmly, are you suggesting I cheated? David adjusted his glasses and said, I never said that, but I do have the responsibility to remind you, cheating is taken very seriously in this class. Heh, now things were getting interesting. If someone targets me, that means they're jealous. And if they're jealous, it means I'm doing something right. A qualified emperor must be tolerant. Yes, but that doesn't mean I'll let slander go unpunished. I leaned in close to his ear, patted his shoulder, and gave a dark chuckle. Do you know what happened to the last guy who accused me of cheating? David swallowed hard. He was clearly nervous, but still forced himself to raise his voice. What? Are you going to use your fancy background to bully people? This isn't your private elite school where you can do whatever you want. His raised voice caught the attention of classmates nearby who had been discussing questions. After they learned what happened, several people began defending me. Someone said, David, you've got the wrong idea about George. He's really serious and hardworking. No way he'd cheat. Another added, yeah, and he's sharp too. He asked me a question last time and even offered an alternative solution I hadn't thought of. Someone else said, don't judge people with prejudice. If he got into our class, he must have passed all the admission criteria. If you've got doubts, go ask the homeroom teacher. David's face turned pale, but he still tried to hold his ground and glared at me. Don't get cocky. I'll be watching you. What did I ever do to him? Alicia later explained. Back in our second year of high school, there was an Olympiad math competition held at your old school. David and I both attended. A girl accidentally knocked his glasses off and broke them. He asked her to pay for it, but she burst into tears. Then some guy stepped in to defend her, and punched David. The more I listened, the more familiar this sounded. Then Alicia added, and coincidentally, that same girl who came to see you at the school gate last time, that's the one who broke his glasses. I was speechless. I turned to glance at David. He was angrily drawing a "do not cross" line on the desk, looking like he wished he could teleport away from me. Chapter 7. Since then, wherever I went, I always felt a gaze following me like a shadow. I stretched lazily and strolled leisurely. Not bad. I, the Emperor, naturally deserved to have an imperial chronicler recording my words and deeds. This is the kind of treatment I, the Emperor, should receive. Although, there was always this faint, inexplicable sound of someone grinding their teeth nearby. Until one day, I was late, right during the homeroom period with our head teacher. She stared at me for a long time, then suddenly ordered me harshly to stand in punishment at the front of the class. Besides David, who wore a gloating grin, everyone else looked a little surprised. I was probably the first student in this class to ever be punished like that. Anna and Alicia frowned deeply, opened their mouths as if to say something, but I subtly raised my hand to stop them. I was late, and the teacher punished me. But if the teacher is late, I don't get to punish her. That's called perspective. It took her 30 years to get up on that podium, but I only needed to be late once. Isn't that success? I joyfully flipped my mindset, and actually started finding the punishment kind of fun. After class, the head teacher called me to her office. She said, "George, do you know why I made you stand as punishment?" I responded sincerely, because I was late. Her eyes grew a bit complicated, like she was holding back anger. She said, "Being late is a small matter, but don't you think you should explain why you were late today?" I answered. My alarm broke, and I couldn't get out of bed. The head teacher sighed, pulled out her phone, and showed me a video. The footage showed me cornering a girl in a narrow alley. She was sitting on the ground, trembling. I stood over her, saying, "You don't need to know who I am, and don't tell your parents, or else." At that moment, I seemed to sense someone nearby. I turned around, and the video cut off. The footage was shaky. Clearly, the person filming was scared, faced with the disappointment in her eyes. I paused and asked, "Can I ask who filmed this?" Her expression turned sharp. "Are you planning to go after the person who filmed it?" "George, I don't care what kind of person you were at your old school, but at our school, we do not tolerate bullying. Do you understand?" I sighed and said, "I didn't bully anyone. I saved her. Today, Pablo had something come up at home, so I figured, since I was already late, I might as well take the bus on my own." I cut through the alley as a shortcut and saw a girl choking, her face pale. Probably ate something too fast and got stuck. I performed the Heimlich maneuver, slapped her back to help her breathe. Luckily, she finally came around, then sat on the ground catching her breath. I stood up, exhausted, and tried to comfort her, but she started rambling about how she wanted her parents to make a banner to thank me. I quickly stopped her. I'd nearly been falsely accused for helping someone before. Gotta be cautious, especially since there were no security cameras around. Didn't expect that kind of footage to end up being recorded anyway. And the angle blocked her completely. It only captured my face. The head teacher clearly didn't believe me and kept staring at me with suspicion. I said, "Don't worry, teacher. I'll find that girl to testify for me." She thought for a moment, then said, "All right, I'll give you the day off. If you need to access surveillance footage, just use my name. I hope this is all a misunderstanding. If I've wrongly accused you, I'll publicly apologize to you in front of the whole class." I froze for a second, then my expression softened a bit. Honestly, having a teacher this responsible is a blessing for the students. Chapter 8. Smack. I slammed the table hard and shouted in anger. I, the Emperor, have fallen into a trap. After I told the whole story to my curious classmates, everyone decided to help however they could. Anna stood up and declared, "We're going to investigate her, even if we have to follow her outside of school." Alicia was more rational. She pulled out an A4 sheet of paper and said, "Describe her appearance. That way we can work more efficiently." I felt truly comforted and replied, "There's no doubt the Imperial Advisor is one of my most loyal and valuable ministers." Only David scoffed in disdain. "Emperor, please. The feudal age died centuries ago. Keep flattering him blindly. Just know, the higher you lift him, the harder the fall will be." I looked at him in surprise, and I had to admit, he did have a point. So I responded, "Very well. One who dares point out the Emperor's flaws deserves a great reward." He froze, stunned, and I took the chance to shove into his hand the disgusting milk I didn't want to drink. He gritted his teeth and said, You. Apparently, his upbringing didn't allow him to waste food. Amid the group's laughter, he was left there, holding that hot potato, his face turning completely green. Once we finished the sketch, the others photocopied it and went off to the other classrooms to search for the girl. Anna and Alicia went to check the school's entrance security footage and found that the girl hadn't shown up today. Luckily, we managed to confirm which class she belonged to and got her contact info. But her testimony alone wasn't enough. We needed objective evidence, otherwise, we couldn't rule out the possibility she might lie under threat. I returned to the scene to investigate. Several cars were parked nearby. If any had captured footage with their dashcams, that would be perfect. I left that task to my dad. As for me, I of course went home to rest. After all, it was a rare day off. However, after only 20 minutes of sleep, I couldn't resist and started doing exercises. A worthy emperor must be diligent and disciplined, never falling into indulgence and laziness. I smiled while muttering, summoning everyone just for something so trivial. Don't you people have anything better to do? Polar coordinates and parametric equations. Good for you, aligning just in time. But if you challenge me, the emperor, it won't end well. Functions and derivatives. You always try to embarrass me in front of everyone. One day, I'll wipe out your entire family. I was so absorbed in my battle with the exercises that I lost all sense of the world around me, until I suddenly heard someone calling me. I looked up and froze. At some point, two heads had appeared at the window. One had a mischievous and sweet expression, eyebrows raised in a playful smile. The other looked cool and distant, but a faint smile touched her lips. It seemed they had been listening to me for a while. Anna blinked and said in English, "To see your majesty so full of life puts our hearts at ease." Ah, so they came to comfort me. I quickly regained my composure, nodded calmly, and spoke with imperial serenity. "Thanks to my loyal ministers, why don't you come in through the door like proper guests, and we'll solve these exercises together?" Catching the hint, Anna touched her nose a bit sheepishly and quickly said, "It was Alicia's idea. She was worried about you and dragged me along." Alicia ignored her, simply reached out, took my exercise sheet, and asked, "Which ones can't you solve?" Just as she finished speaking, a cold gust of wind blew in from outside, and Anna sneezed at the perfect moment. The three of us exchanged glances, and then burst out laughing. Today is the winter solstice. I wonder if it'll snow this year. I've already started looking forward to it. Chapter 9. The next day, the girl I had saved really came to the office with a commendation banner. When she heard I'd been misunderstood as a bully, she was furious. She snapped, "It must have been someone who has a grudge against you, spreading rumors on purpose." That video was cut so short, just one more second and the truth would have come out. Meanwhile, my dad had successfully contacted the car owner and obtained the full dashcam footage. He was shouting about seeking justice for me, but I stopped him. After all, the misunderstanding was resolved, and that was enough. Besides, if I had actually been bullying someone, the person who filmed it would have been doing the right thing. The head teacher kept her promise and apologized to me in front of the whole class. She said, "I must reflect on my own actions. I judged George too quickly and even made him stand as punishment. I sincerely apologize. This incident has reminded me that, as a teacher, I must have more faith in my students. George was late because he was helping someone. That's something to be proud of. It deserves applause and recognition." As soon as she finished speaking, the class erupted into applause, all smiles on their faces. The head teacher gave a warm smile. She added, "The reward I promised will always be valid. Come to me anytime to claim it." I nodded, feeling a bit embarrassed, because honestly, I did oversleep that day. After class, I gave a carton of milk to every student in the class as a thank you gift, including David. What surprised me was, apparently, he'd actually helped out a bit yesterday, too. Right now, David was quieter than usual, not even lifting his head the whole time. I withdrew my gaze indifferently, but when he came out of the office looking downcast, I suddenly popped out from around the corner and startled him. Absolute cruelty leads to tyranny. Too much kindness becomes weakness. A qualified emperor must temper mercy with an edge. I said coldly, "I knew it was you. Now tell me, why did you slander me?" To my surprise, the next second, he dropped to his knees with a thud, his voice trembling. "This is all my fault, but I really thought you were bullying her at the time." I was stunned. Once I processed what he said, I quickly reached out to pull him up, but he refused to rise, just kept muttering apologies. Face dark, I said, "Stop kneeling already." "What? Do you want people to think I'm bullying you now?" He sprang to his feet at once, though his lips were still quivering. I led him to a quiet corner. I asked, "David, did you come after me because you were bullied once, and now you think I'm just like them? You've got the highest grade in political science in the whole class. How could you still make such a sweeping judgment?" His voice was thick with guilt. He said, "I'm sorry." I sighed. "Well, since you're owning up to it so sincerely, I've decided. Let me tell you a little fairy tale." Chapter 10. Once upon a time, the emperor and the empress lived in a castle deep in the forest with their crown prince. One day, a wicked witch turned the crown prince into a frog. David interrupted me. "Wait a minute. Isn't the cultural background of your story a bit messed up? Wasn't it supposed to be a royal prince who turns into a frog?" But under the emperor's majestic gaze, he lowered his head again. "My mom passed away early. I was raised by my dad alone. When I was 8, my dad was working at a construction site. His wages had been delayed for a long time. to pay for my tuition. He went to confront the site manager multiple times, only to be insulted and even physically assaulted. My dad couldn't take it anymore. He gave the guy a shove, and the men stumbled backward, landing on a steel bar and dying on the spot. Fortunately, other workers testified in my dad's favor. He was sentenced to 3 years. I was entrusted to my uncle and aunt, but living under someone else's roof was tough. They often scolded me, calling me a jinx, saying my mom died because of me, and my dad went to jail because of me, too. And if that's how the adults acted, the kids just followed suit. My cousin would grab me by the neck and punch me in the stomach. While hitting me, he'd curse, "Die, you damned jinx." It was during that time that I met Willow. Willow was a rich girl who came to spend summer at her grandma's place. When she saw what was happening, she stepped up without hesitation. She scolded my cousin for 2 full hours, without repeating herself once. At that moment, I thought, if a man could marry a woman like this, what more could he ask for? But when she found out I called myself the Crown Prince, she laughed too. She said, "Well, guess I'm getting a pretty good deal. But let's make one thing clear, you can only ever have me as your crown princess." Sadly, we were destined to go our separate ways. She wanted to be my one and only crown princess, but I couldn't remain the crown prince forever. Sooner or later, I had to ascend the throne. Fortunately, after my dad got out, our luck turned around. Our old house got demolished for redevelopment. He won the lottery. Then he caught the rise of the internet economy, and his business grew rapidly. He became a well-known nouveau riche. He told me I'd never have to worry about money for the rest of my life. At first, I was planning to just be a spoiled, useless ruler. But one day, I overheard a client bragging to my dad about how his son had gotten into a top-tier university. My dad stared at the acceptance letter in the photo for a long time. His face wore a polite smile, but in his eyes, I saw genuine envy. That same client who was praising my dad's son in front of him later made a call behind his back and sneered, "He's just some ex-con, a shallow upstart. His kid will grow up to be trash just like him." From that moment, I decided I'd start studying hard. A dragon's son will always be a dragon. David bowed his head even lower, as if guilt was about to crush him. He murmured, "Then this crown prince is really something." I smiled faintly and said, "What I want to say is, don't let others define you. Always believe in yourself. A crown prince is still a crown prince. Even if someone turns him into a frog, as long as he never forgets who he is, he'll never be stuck in the mud." Same goes for gold. Only a fool can't see its worth, but anyone with taste can spot its glow instantly. David froze. I suddenly closed the distance between us, gripped his shoulders, and said sternly, "You're the same. A man should kneel to no one. Stand up straight, no kneeling allowed." I knew David had always struggled with deep insecurity. The school regularly posted grade rankings on the bulletin board, while everyone else's photos showed confidence and pride. David's eyes were filled with fear and self-doubt. Even though he was already ranked second in the entire grade, people still stared at his photo and gossiped. "He looks like such a creep. How the hell did he get second place?" "Hey, keep it down," the first guy snapped back. "What? Oh please, stop simping for him. Can't even speak the truth now." David glanced at me, and to my surprise, his eyes were slightly red. The next second, "What are you two doing?" Anna and Alicia came down the stairs. Their uncertain eyes shifted back and forth between me and David. I was speechless, no idea what the two of them were imagining. I calmly brushed the dust off my clothes and said, "It's nothing. Class is about to start. Let's go." Chapter 11. The weather was getting colder, and many parents had started bringing lunch to their children. For me, mooching lunch had become part of my daily routine. Anna always invited me enthusiastically to try the dishes prepared by her family's chef. They say they hired him with a large sum of money. Today's meal, as always, was delicious. I nodded in satisfaction, and just as I was about to take another bite with my chopsticks, Alicia stopped me. Alicia said, "The rules of our ancestors are clear. No more than 3 bites of the same dish, or you'll get tired of it. As the emperor, you should distribute imperial favor evenly. Come on, try mine." She had a point. I nodded solemnly and redirected my chopsticks. Anna clicked her tongue and said, "Where did you get that rule from? Our emperor eats whatever he pleases." "Alicia, you're just jealous because he likes mine better, right?" Alicia rolled her eyes and replied, "You think your food's that good? Let him try mine first, and if he's disappointed, then you can mock me." Besides, she added seriously, the emperor works day and night. He needs to strengthen his immune system, and that requires a balanced diet. Yours is full of fat and salt. How can he eat that? Anna shot back, "What a hypocrite. Isn't mine nutritious too?" I asked the chef to make sure it was balanced. "You, pretentious coquette, will say anything to drag me down." The two of them once again fell into their own little parallel world and couldn't escape. I silently picked up my tray and returned to my seat. A moment later, David discreetly pushed a small pot of soup toward me, scratched his head, and muttered, "It's black chicken soup my mom made, really nutritious. Want to try it?" Truth be told, I was already full, but if I turned him down, would he kneel again? So, To save face, I drank it all, seeing his eyes sparkle with anticipation. I sincerely praised him. Your mom's cooking is amazing, restaurant quality. If she opened one, it would be an instant hit. The corners of his lips curled up proudly. Wow, at least you know how to recognize something good, he said, clearly pleased. I smiled without answering, cleaned the table, and got ready to continue with the exercises. Suddenly, he poked me with the tip of his pen and said, if there's anything you don't understand, just ask me. After all, I'm better than Anna. That was a pleasant surprise. I had long wanted to learn his study methods, and said excitedly, my loyal subject, your willingness to ease my burdens truly pleases me. A reward is in order. He kicked his chair back, about to express his gratitude for the imperial grace, but I swiftly pressed him down. Chapter 12. The shadows passing under the camphor trees gradually changed, from 3 people to 4. As winter deepened, our clothes grew thicker too. Before we realized it, the new year had arrived. As a proper nouveau riche family, we loved decorating the house in red and gold, lively, festive, the whole works. On the 5th day of the new year, my friends were supposed to come over to celebrate. My dad was bustling in the kitchen, all smiles in his apron, eager to cook them a hearty meal to thank them for helping me with school. Unfortunately, before the friends arrived, the exiled one did. Still in his apron, Dad came out with a cheerful grin, only to frown the second he saw Willow. Well, if it isn't Miss Lou herself, a humble nouveau riche family like ours surely isn't worthy of such a guest. Willow stood there with a New Year gift, fidgety and sheepish. Uncle Wong. I was wrong before. I came today to apologize to George for the way I acted. She paused, then added, my dad said, our families still do business together, so I shouldn't ruin the relationship because of personal stuff. Most likely, her family sent her to smooth things over. I glanced at the tea cake in her hand. It was the kind my dad liked. Well, no reason to refuse it. I patted my dad on the shoulder and said, it's the new year. A guest is a guest. He gave a cold snort and returned to the kitchen. Now the living room was just me and Willow. From the beginning, she hadn't dared look me in the eye. I poured her a glass of water. I asked, Uncle Lou and the others doing well lately? Willow took the cup and forced a smile. They're good. They mention you a lot, say it's been too long since you visited. I smiled back. Been busy with school. I'll drop by when I get the chance. Once the small talk ended, silence fell. The atmosphere grew heavy and awkward. I got up, planning to grab a set of practice papers, but she suddenly called out to me. Her eyes were slightly red at the corners, and her voice strained. You really don't care about me at all anymore? I thought for a second and said, oh, you and your boyfriend doing okay? Willow shot to her feet, panic flashing across her eyes. I broke up with Makoto. No, we weren't even together. That WeChat post was just to get back at you. But when her eyes met my calm gaze, she quickly looked away, like she'd been burned. Her voice dropped even lower. The truth is, the one I've always liked is. Suddenly, a sarcastic voice rang out. Well, is this the legendary crown princess I'm seeing? Anna cut her off with a grin, followed by a clearly unamused Alicia and David. Anna wore a modern red cheapao-style outfit, her bangs brushed up into a fluffy bun, adorned with the hair clip I gave her. My eyes lit up. I genuinely praised her. Red suits you. You look beautiful. Anna blushed, gave a little snort, and mumbled, if your majesty likes it, I'll wear it more often. My dad popped his head out, voice uncharacteristically warm. Dinner'll be ready in 30 minutes. Thank you, uncle, they all chimed. As Anna began questioning why Willow was even here, Alicia stepped in front of me, blocking my view with a smile. I made a new targeted worksheet based on your final exam mistakes. Want to see it? I answered. Yes. I took her hand and headed upstairs. A faint smirk played at her lips, barely concealing the glimmer of satisfaction in her eyes. David noticed first. He gritted his teeth and muttered, Anna, are you dumb? They're already gone. Anna realized it a beat too late and stomped in frustration. Forget Willow. She stormed up the stairs. David crossed his arms and turned to face Willow, whose face had gone pale. She stared blankly toward the stairs, stunned that she had just been completely forgotten. After savoring her defeated expression for a moment, David delivered the final blow. He sneered. Would have been a perfect fairy tale ending. Too bad. When your character doesn't match your role, disaster's bound to follow. You built your golden house, but the girl inside was never meant to stay. Willow's head snapped up. She understood every word. Her eyes burned, and she could no longer hold back the tears. When all the dishes were finally ready, I glanced toward the living room. Only the untouched glass of water remained on the table. No one mentioned her, and I didn't ask. Everyone else was cheerful and relaxed. New year, new beginnings. Chapter 13. Once the new semester started, it was full speed ahead with last-minute reviews and patching up knowledge gaps. My deskmates rotated from David to Anna to others. Some classmates were recommended for direct admission. Some were headed overseas. In the end, Only about a dozen of us were taking the national college entrance exam the traditional way. I became the focus of every subject teacher. They called me a dark horse, and said that meant I needed to be pushed harder, no room for slacking. Already spinning like a top, I got pulled for even more extra sessions. I started wishing I could split my sleeping hours in half just to get more time in. But I genuinely enjoyed this feeling of every bit of effort yielding something in return. The kingdom I ruled as I, the emperor, was flourishing. In the monotony of school. Time finally marched its way to June. With the ringing of the final exam bell, everything was over. My dad came to pick me up, grinning from ear to ear, but didn't ask me a single thing. I figured he must be really confident in how I did. Until score release day, when I caught him secretly burning incense at the altar for my mom. His hands trembling, he whispered, "Empress Dowager, you've gotta bless our emperor. Let him slap those treacherous ministers and rebels in the face real hard." The results page took forever to load, still no score in sight. My dad forced a smile and said, "Maybe you filled in your answer sheet wrong. It's okay, son. We'll just try again NE." I pointed to the fine print at the bottom. "Dad, why don't you read that line?" He leaned in closer to the screen, squinting, his eyes growing wider and wider. It said, "Your ranking is within the top 50 in the entire province. Please check the full details on the 27th. He looked like he had entered another dimension. Only when the phone rang did he snap out of it. Suddenly, he jumped up and let out 3 loud laughs. "Ha ha ha. The Wang family finally produced a once-in-a-generation genius. My dear wife. I knew you were watching from above." Sob, sob, sob. He laughed and cried like he'd won the lottery jackpot. I patted him on the shoulder and said, "Dad, pick up the phone." He wiped his tears, glanced at the caller ID, and instantly plastered on a wide grin. "Yo, old Sue, the scores. Oh, nothing special. Just top 50 in the whole province. That's all. Oh wait, gotta go, the homeroom teacher's calling." He was laughing so hard his belly jiggled, striding off in huge steps. Chapter 14. On the day we filled out our college applications, the 4 of us gathered together. Alicia chose Shanghai University. David and I both chose Peking University. Anna had already received an offer from a top international university. She was headed abroad. To celebrate, my dad picked a lucky day and booked out a hotel to host a graduation banquet for me. I requested a private room, also to give Anna a proper send-off. At the table, Anna was quieter than usual, clearly preoccupied. Alicia and David were acting kind of strange too. Just then, my dad came in carrying the last dish. He beamed and announced, "Wishing you all success, luck like a dragon rising from the sea, wings to soar, bright futures, top scores, prosperity, and everything going your way. Okay, now the menu is complete." Anna blushed and looked at him, saying, "Uncle Wang, you're really so good to George. I love the warmth in your family. I wish you were my dad." My dad smiled so hard his mouth practically reached his ears. He said, "Oh, you flatter me." Then turned and immediately recorded a voice message to Uncle Sue. "Your daughter doesn't want you anymore." Alicia's face went black. I glanced around at them all, and suddenly, it clicked. I understood. So I waved my hand and declared, "What's there to be embarrassed about? How about this? From today on, you all officially recognize my dad as your godfather. From now on, we won't be just friends, we'll be imperial family, brothers and sisters in title." David, speechless. Alicia, also speechless. Anna's eyes widened as she shot to her feet. She bit her lip and blurted out, "That's not what I meant. I was trying to say, Emperor, Alicia quickly pinched her mouth shut and explained, "We're about to part ways soon." She's just emotional. She emphasized part ways, and Anna froze, without denying it. After my dad left with a cheerful smile, Anna glared fiercely at Alicia. She huffed coldly, "The future's long. Let's see who wins in the end." Alicia took a calm sip of tea and replied, "Looking forward to it." David muttered, "No official titles, no status, and y'all are already acting out a palace drama. Shameless." The 2 girls instantly turned their weapons on him. A verbal battle was inevitable. I quietly slipped away from the war zone. Just as I stepped outside, I bumped into Willow. She looked pale and haggard. Word was she'd been sick recently. Her exam scores had been poor, and the Liu family had decided to send her abroad. As for Makoto, he didn't do well either. I'd read in a WeChat post that after being rejected repeatedly, he'd slapped Willow in a fit of rage. The 2 of them had added plenty more fuel to the school gossip fire. I, the Emperor, have read it. Quite satisfying. So I gave it a like. Chapter 15. Willow pressed her lips together. Looking a bit cautious, she said, "George, I'm going abroad." I nodded. Safe travels." She opened her mouth again, wanting to say more, but a few others walked over and cut her off. David grabbed me, dragging me forward excitedly. "Don't bother with them," he said. "They're about to light the fireworks. If we don't go now, we'll miss it." I replied, "All right." We walked ahead together. Anna and Alicia followed soon after, And Willow finally realized. She couldn't even touch the hem of my coat anymore. Whoosh! A dazzling firework exploded in the night sky, illuminating all of our futures. I tilted my head back, quietly admiring it. Under my rule, the rivers run clear, the seas are calm, the times are harmonious, the harvests are bountiful. From this point on, may the road ahead be smooth.